Good morning, everyone, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. My name is Yi Xuan Gao. I just graduated from Southern Cross University and majored in social and culture. I also completed my master's degree at the University of Melbourne in 2024, which was majoring in arts education. Over the past 2 years, I have also worked part-time job as a tutor in the institute. This experience helped me connect the educational theories I learned with real classroom practice and gave me confidence in managing the diverse demands of teaching in secondary schools. As a young educator, I bring both passion and reliability to my work. Being close in the age to my students allows me to understand their perspectives, while a genuine enthusiasm for learning that drives me to create lessons that are engaging and meaningful. One of my greatest strengths as a teacher is ability to notice each student's strengths and challenges and always try to provide personalized supporting so that every students can find their own ways of improving and enjoying learning. In my classroom, I like to maintain what are called friendly but structured relationship. I'm approachable and caring, but also firm and consistent with expectation. I believe that this balance allows students to feel both respectable and guided. Looking ahead, I hope continue providing a learning environment that's diverse, inclusive, and professional, where every students feel safe, valued, and motivated to achieve their best. Now, I would like to share my philosophy of classroom management. In Victoria, teachers work within a strong policy framework that promotes inclusion, equity, and student safety. National legislation protects every student's rights to learn without discrimination, while state policy encourages positive behavior, support, and proactive engagement in Victoria. Classroom management operates within clear legally and policy framework. At the national level, the Disability Discrimination Act and the Disability Standards for Education ensure that every student has equitable access to learning. This framework guides me to provide reasonable adjustment for diverse learners, especially those with additional behavioral and communication needs. The Alice Spring Education Declaration further promotes excellence and equity for all learners, reminding teachers that behavior and engagement are inseparable from inclusion. At the state level, the Victorian Department of Education's Positive Behavior Supporting Framework encourages proactive relationship based approaches rather than punitive responses. This policy shapes my philosophy by refuting the ideas that fairness, consistency, and respect are non negotiable in professional practice. My responsibility is not only to comply with these standards, but to interpret this reflective to make decisions that are just, compassionate, and student centered. This framework shapes my professional values. They remind me that classroom management is not simply about enforcing the rules, it's about protecting the rights and promoting the fairness. For example, the standards for teachers expected us to create safe and supportive environments for all students. This expectation pushed me to think about classroom management as a professional and an ethical responsibility, not just a technical skills. Policies such as the Positive Behavior Support Framework also guide me to focus on the proactive strategies, collaboration and reflection rather than the punishment. Together, they define what it means to be reflective practitioner, someone who makes decisions that are consistent, compassionate, and student-centered. A truly effective approach to classroom management must be holistic, addressing the social, emotional, behavioral, and academic dimensions of learning. When students feel emotionally secure and socially connected, they are they are far more willing to engage and achieve. My philosophy draws on ideas of Skinner and Vygotsky, whose theories together form the backbone of my practice. From Skinner, I adopt the principle of the reinforcement and consequent teaching students that positive behaviors are noticed and valued, and consistently acknowledge efforts and improvement, not just achievement, to build intrinsic motivation and responsibility. From Vygotsky, I embrace that view that learning is a social process developed through interaction and scaffolding. His concept of the zone of proximal development reminds me to get students gradually from teacher support to self regulation, build both confidence and independence. I also incorporate insights from the social and emotional learning frameworks and the positive psychology, which highlights well being, resilience, and emphasis as essential parts of education, but explicitly teaching skills such as empathy, reflection, and responsible decision making. I help students manage themselves as the learners and as people. Classroom management is not only about what happens inside the classroom, it also relies on collaboration with parents. You can see the picture I used here. Whether in family or the classroom, children are the common element. When schools and families share consistent expectations and values, students experience security and a sense of belonging. In my classroom, I strive to maintain open two-way communication with parents. I send short positive updates to celebrate improvement, hold student-led conferences, and to co-develop learning plans for students who need extra support. This practice helps families stay engaged in their children's education. Of course, there are various times constraints, language differences, and cultural expectations can make communication difficult. To address this, I offer flexible meeting times, provide translate materials when it needed, and always begin conversation with positive feedback. I see teachers and parents as partners in shaping students' behavior and well-being. When families feel respected and included, classroom management becomes a shared supportive process, not a one-sided effort. For example, in my classroom, there are often students who are new immigrants. Sometimes they cannot fully grasp the underlying meaning of the certain issues, or children are experience certain emotion, but they are too shy or don't know how to express themselves verbally. Maintaining efficient communication with their parents can help solve this problem quickly and with high quality. My classroom management is proactive, not reactive. I focusing on building a routine and relationship that prevents issues before they occur. At the beginning of this year, I co-create classroom expectation with students. This process gives them a voice and ownership of their environment. Predictable routines help them feel secure and focused. To promote engagement, I acknowledge efforts and persistence, not just success. I also teach social and emotional skills. For example, starting the weeks with brief check-in circle, where students can express how they feel and set a goal for this week. When challenging the rest, I use the restore active conversation instead of punishment. I get students to reflect, repair, and rejoin the community. Over the time, they learn to regulate their own behavior and take the responsibility for their choice. This proactive approach reflects my overall brief. Structure provides safety and relationships purpose. My philosophy of the classroom management is to build three foundations: policy, theory, and compassion. Policy defines professional responsibility. Theory provides insight into learning and behavior. The compassion connects everything to the real human experience of teaching. Through this, I aim to create a classroom that is consistent, inclusive, and reflective. one where students understand both boundary and care behind them. Classroom management to me is not only about control, it's about empowerment. It's about teaching students to take ownership of their learning, to treat others with kindness, and to manage themselves with confidence. As a new teacher, I bring both athleticism and a deep sense of responsibility. I'm ready to continue learning, collaborating, and make a differences in their life of my students. Thank you for you listening. And here's my references.